So I will say this: in all my years that I've created videos for clients, for specifically for recording their content, I've noticed a trend amongst my speaking clients, okay, is that they have a huge competitive advantage compared to my non-speaker clients. And it's just the fact of the reality. They tend to not need a teleprompter as much, particularly for things that they're really good at, just what I call freestyling on. This also goes well for my very talented pastor friends, and you know who you are. And so I will admit that I do have a competitive advantage as a videographer when I speak to my client, and let's say it's a pastor, right? He needs to record a sermon, or he needs to record a quick message. It's really amazing how they understand how to deliver a message straight to the camera. In fact, actually right now in this video, I'm not using a teleprompter. Obviously, I'm just talking freely off of the dome, freestyling. But I want to talk to you guys today about the importance of being a videographer like myself, and the things and the tips that I've learned from watching pastors behind the scenes, helping coach them. Also, motivational speakers, the things that I see them do that other people who are non-speakers don't do, that really, I think, help them with their communication skills. And so one of the things I would say is that these guys are very expressive. Like I myself, when I first started, I want to be honest with you guys, I first started doing what I'm doing so that I could learn from my mentor. And my mentor, he was a motivational speaker. He was a coach. He was a pastor. And so he would travel to different churches, preach. He would travel to jails, juvenile detention centers. We would go to youth homes and youth programs, and he would empower them and encourage them that they can continue to be successful. And also, too, he would also do evangelistic series, youth retreats, youth programs, and preach. And it always baffled me how he was able to just be so expressive and be so energetic. And I just was like so impressed with that. So I would mimic him. I would record his sermons. And this is really embarrassing to say, and I hate to be one of those guys. But I would go back, as I was editing his videos, after I was done editing the final product and sent to him, I would actually mimic him. And so one of the things that you can do if you want to be a better speaker is to find speakers that you respect, that you like, and don't be afraid to get into a mirror and try to practice their body language. And what's going to happen is that's going to translate with you as you try to make your own videos, as you try to speak to people in real life. And so people may not realize this, but I've been behind the scenes working on my ability to communicate. And so people now, they tell me, oh, Rayno, you're super charismatic. Oh, Rayno, we love talking to you. Oh, you've got the gift of, somebody told me I have the gift of extemporaneous speaking, not knowing that from ages, I think 8 to 13 or 14 years old, I had a very bad stutter. So I'm super aware of communication skills, because I felt like between like middle school and like late elementary, I really didn't like talk. Like I literally was struggling just to speak. I was one of those type of people that when I stuttered, I would hit something as I spoke. So just to give an example, I would go and like hit the table, and it was like the word would get like stuck in my throat. And I remember even then as a young kid, I would look in the mirror and just practice saying the basic words of life, right? And so I think subconsciously, when I'm still practicing today, my speaking ability, even getting on this camera, actually a part of my challenge to myself was I need to get in front of a camera every day, and I just need to talk. Even if I don't post the video, I just need to talk. I need to get into a mirror and just talk. And if you're somebody who wants to take this thing to the next level, you want to get on stages and get paid to speak, you want to get on camera and you want to get your YouTube videos monetized? I'm saying, yo, bro, why are you not practicing, right? Athletes practice. Great magicians, they practice their tricks for over and over and over again. And you're a speaker, right? You're a preacher, or you say you are, but you're not speaking. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not saying that you should, post a YouTube video. I mean, that would be ideal. What I'm saying is you set a timer for like 5 minutes. You find a topic that you're passionate about, or you write a sermon that you're doing a Bible study on, and get in front of a mirror and just talk, right? First start there. Then phase 2 would be to start creating videos. And then, as you're learning things, you could at least be earning. Maybe you have a concept for a book. My suggestion is, as I told you, my secret as I'm watching my pastoral friends, is that when they actually post these videos in the form of podcasts, in the form of books, or whatever their content that they're promoting, what you notice that they're able to monetize the ideas that's in their brain. Okay, and so my encouragement to you guys as you watch these YouTube videos is, if you're someone who says, I want to make a positive difference in this world, Rayno. I want to be someone who goes out and preaches at churches, and I want to be that person who goes on stages, and I want to be that person who goes to schools and motivate kids. And I understand why you're saying this, because you do want to change the world. But before you can change someone else's world, you need to change your world. You need to change your speaking ability, right? Because the reality is, some of y'all suck at speaking, and you're not willing to do the nitty and dirty work that it takes to become a better speaker. Now, look, hopefully this doesn't offend anybody, but the truth hurts, okay? And I'm saying this out of love. I'm saying this as someone who has put in the work. To this day, I write sermons behind the scenes that no one has ever heard of. Every day, I get messages from the divine. God speaks to me, and he gives me messages. Sometimes they're motivational. Sometimes they're just, things that I see analogies for. But because I'm a speaker, because I believe that I'm a messenger, I'm a vessel for God's messages to come through me, I believe that God can do the same for other people. Because Jesus said that we'll be able to do greater things than he did. Greater things, he said. And Jesus preached some of the greatest messages that had ever been preached. Sermon on the Mount. Go study that. You don't even have to be Christian to get value out of the messages that Jesus spoke. And that's the beautiful thing about being someone who God called to do even greater things. So there'll be messages that God has for us to give to this next generation that can only come from you, right? And so there are messages that come from your life, from your story. And you need to learn how to be able to deliver that thing on camera, right? And to not be afraid of not using a teleprompter, right? Now, I'm not saying that I don't use teleprompters. There's times in my videos where, I have to, if something's really wordy or technical, I may use a teleprompter. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, a teleprompter is a nice to have. It's not a need to have if you're actually working on things behind the scenes and if you're actually allowing messages to marinate in your body. Now, I'm not against a teleprompter. I'm not for a teleprompter. For certain videos, it makes sense. But what I'm saying is this. Practice your speaking ability. If you say you're going to be a speaker, or you're getting ready for some big stage that's coming up a month from now or 2 weeks from now, or you got a sermon you're prepping, whatever it is, I don't care what it is. You need to be practicing your speaking, period, right? This should be a part of your routine. And all I'm asking for is just 5 minutes every day. Talk to a camera, review that footage like it's game footage, because this is your sport. This is your lane. And if you're serious about the craft of speaking, you would be already doing this naturally. Now, understand that all of us are busy, but here are some ways that you can find time to do this 5-minute drill while you're driving. A lot of us will be stuck in traffic, and instead of you getting mad, hitting the horn, right, shooting birds at people, how about you say, oh, snap, this is an opportunity for me to get better at my craft. That's what I do. When I'm driving, I get stuck in Atlanta traffic. You guys know I just moved here to Atlanta, and one of the things that I really hate is that Atlanta has a lot of traffic. A friend of mine told me that. This. They said ATL stands for Audacious Traffic Land. And I was like, that's Atlanta. But while I'm sitting in traffic, I'm pretending like I'm speaking in front of somebody, and they just gave me a topic, right? And I'll just talk, right? Or one of the things you can do is, while you're intentional of going out in public, go up and start doing small talk with people, right? And while you're doing small talk with random people, like whether you're at the coffee shop or whether you're at the store, like kind of insert a little bit of your story, right? See what messages gravitate to people. You'd be surprised. I made a lot of new friends doing this. So like I'm at Starbucks, right? I'm not really a coffee drinker, but I'm at Starbucks. I go in there and I'm like, what? I want to practice my speaking ability. And I see that there's a person there, like I see an old dude in there, OG. I go up to him, dap him up, be like, hey, what's up, OG? What you doing? He's sitting there, he's drinking his coffee. He's like, what up, young man? How you doing? And eventually we start talking like, yo, OG, I'm a young man. Do you have any wisdom for me? And I told him I just moved to Atlanta. I'm starting my photography business, and I'm always wearing this shirt. So they're like, hey, what's that? What's Media Victor Pro? And so of course we talk. And when I drop the line to him, I want to create content that leaves this world better than I found it. OG's like, yo, that's so inspiring. You want to create content for motivational speakers? So I tell them about my business. If you're not able to compel one person in Starbucks about your business, how do you expect someone on a YouTube video that's listening to you to be compelled? you need to practice your speaking in real life as well. Don't be afraid of small talk. I don't know why people are so afraid of small talk, but small talk is a great way to practice your speaking ability. So, the video has been about 10 minutes, so I'll close with this. Don't be afraid to practice your speaking, one, alone. Two, right, when you're in traffic, right, or wherever that case may be, in front of a mirror, whatever it is. And two, don't be afraid to practice your speaking in public, specifically with random people. Because once you get those small wins, as Rayno preaches, small wins 24/7, right? Once you get those small wins, you're practicing your speaking, you're practicing your craft, you will become a better speaker. But don't think about it as this giant message that you have to preach. Think about it as you getting 1% better every day. That's all I'm asking. 1% better. And if you do that, I promise you, you'll become a better speaker. You'll become a better preacher, because that's what I saw in some of my greatest speaker clients. They are really good at communicating, because I believe they preach so many sermons, they told so many messages, that it's become a point where they've gotten good subconsciously. And I want to teach you, as someone who had to learn it the hard way, someone who used to stutter. I used to have a bad stutter. I want to help you guys, because I believe that once you are really good at communicating your ideas and your thoughts to people, it will make you more money. This is one of the most valuable skills that you can have in life, right? And if you guys want to elevate, we got to get better on how we communicate, right? So if you want to elevate, get better in how you communicate. If you want to elevate, learn to communicate. All right, that's my message. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.